Well, as we're sitting here at LTV on this Tuesday afternoon, December 12th, year 2023, here with the Hello Hello Show. My name is Haim Mizrahi, continuing with the tradition of public access and the tradition of the Hello Hello Show that's been on the air since 1980. Of course, not to fail to mention the contribution by Fraser Dougherty and Francis Ann, and of course, the likes of you out there that make it your business to enhance and fortify the concept of public access. Can't do without my coffee, even though I don't drink that much coffee. And I think that's good. Just kind of having a little bit of it. Okay, that's good. So, yes, of course. And you are there to make it your business to enhance and fortify the concept of public access. That in itself is an act of heroism every day as we witness this wonderful concept unfold. It's amazing how no matter how far and how deep you dive into this whole reality called public access, you will always find out that there's something new that's going to come to the surface, something new that's going to spring and give us that feel of okay, we're onto something, we're motion forward, reaching somewhere, and we're kind of fulfilling um, multiple desires and concepts and entities that are engaged and involved into becoming an efficient force that's helping this vehicle or vessel, and I always consider the world as a vessel, and it's like somehow sometimes it gives us the feeling as if it just has a mind of its own, and sometimes it gives us the feeling that it depends on us to participate in the thinking process to increase the chances of this world to survive and thrive, hopefully, and allow people like we have in this country. And of course, even though I know many people that are going to say, "I'm going to." I'm going to go somewhere else if this president is going to be elected or that president, or I'm going to just go and live somewhere else and all this. And I find it very peculiar and very strange to hear people speak like that, especially when they're and then again, I speak as an artist. I speak as someone who make it his business to show up in the studio every day and to pour my heart out, or maybe not pour my heart out, maybe just kind of open my heart and let it kind of speak its piece, and without thinking what exactly is going to hit, who is going to embrace or to tackle or to reject or to accept. Whatever it is that I release into the thin air, that is out of my control. But the initial intent is to gather and muster these feelings and sensations and energies into hoping that at some point you 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 will see the end at the end of the tunnel flickering, literally giving you an indication that there's room for things. We're approached by the light, and the light wants to thank us, and to tell us of its appreciation. And we take it for granted. We take it for granted. Even the things that we need to be proud of, even the things that we need to expect to be compensated and acknowledged. There's nothing like an acknowledgement, especially from the right source, from the source that you can look up to and respect and agree with and create together and join in forces. And so and I know I live in a neighborhood where a lot of people like myself, they will march to their studios and they will enter their safe haven, even though it's completely exposed to the elements, so to speak. And thank God that it is. And then it's a complete selfless act to do so. And so when you and I learned, for example, if you have kids, you probably know, or maybe you don't know, but kids at the age 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That I used to allow my son to draw and to paint, and I realized that in more often than not, I will not be facing him, witnessing what he was doing, and I wasn't allowing him. Well, I'm not allowing, but I wasn't. I didn't make it possible for him to see me observing him live. And so I would turn my back as if I'm actually doing something this way, the opposite direction, not in any way to ignore or to insult. And I realized that increased their already naturals, and they're already cleaner than us adults. They're already soaked with all these wonderful things that are so essential for something that particular thing to happen in the studio. And while you're there, you can only dream of these kind of becomings and realizations. They're just like heavenly. So they have it. And turning my back on him was more allowing him the space that he needed. That otherwise, I couldn't find a way other than just turning my back to him uh, in order to leave him alone. Just leave him alone. But not with the emphasis, at least not with the obviousness of an act like this. Um, because you'd be amazed how 5-year-olds are very observant. And they can someone sometimes call you on certain behavior or reaction of yours, telling you, or maybe not, that you are maybe acting strangely, or maybe uh, doing something that is different than what they know you to react and to do. And so they call you on this, and then you say, "Oh my God, like, thank you." You're actually grateful that you're aware that they are aware, and you becoming aware that they are in the picture. They're 5-year-olds, but they're in the picture. They're part of the picture. They have their equal, compatible partners. So I I want to be able to share and to make a difference in, especially if it's my kids' lives with them, people, kids, children, make a difference without thinking that I have a message to deliver or a declaration to carry. And more like including all that which is cliche completely and adamant, because you have to include it into this equation of what really takes place when that process begins. And how is it that the world is benefiting from it? Um, and and not to have to wait until you're some kind of a celebrity or some kind of a powerful individual in order to think that there's a justification, especially now, to speak your piece. It's always going to reach that destination. But first, you got to learn that you don't have to be involved in the process of what's going to happen after you created the act, you performed the act. Just like with art and art exhibitions and being an artist, learning to let go, learning to let go of things, learning to let go of paintings, learning to let go of that which we know ourselves to admire and to adore, and breaking the news to ourselves as often as we can. Hey, like, give yourself a break. This is not important, and maybe you're not so important, and maybe you're not even relevant, or maybe that which you were just discussing and thinking this is like the A and the Z and the one and infinity is actually something extremely ordinary that is just not even. But still, your power to create the placement and to decide about the location, decide also when this journey is embarking, and what's going to be the nature and the profile and the um, um, character of this initiation, this energy that's actually found itself accelerating and going through this, especially feelings and sensations of being, that eagerness, And so at the beginning, I realized that actually, when I was here the other day speaking to Steve Ram, he said, "Oh, Jason here from LTV, a wonderful individual." He said, "Maybe you're not ready. Maybe look how simple it is." So for me, it was like, "Wow, this is brilliant." So this is a no-brainer, but it's brilliant nevertheless. It's a no-brainer, and it's nevertheless brilliant, really brilliant. So I said, "Yes, but of course, you're right. You're right. How could I have not pay attention to it and label it and accept it as such and uh, not ready yet?" So it's not like you're not ready because you didn't get to that point where this is allowed, or you earned your rights to whatever, or you whatever. This is just like the you just don't have enough numbers, kind of thing. It's almost like you buy something, and even if you're short a few pennies, you're short. Short is short. Uh, if it's $20 and you have $1, you're short. And if it's $20 and you have $19.75, you're still short. It matters when it comes to those higher level engagements. Higher level meaning that you are finding yourself in your own big league, you become a member of the big league that happens to be your own to begin with. Fascinating feeling, a fascinating realization, a fascinating knowledge, with a fascinating approach, with a fascinating acknowledgement, with a fascinating understanding. Really fascinating. And then it's touch and go, and you realize, wait a second, in the touch and go, it's more actually, touch and go is actually pausing. Literally, you don't, that's a replacement to pausing, because you don't want to really stop that machine altogether. You're slowing down, sometimes stopping, and and it's always in motion, and it's always, and you understand its nature, and you made friends with this whole kind of level, sensation of intimidation, challenging and whatnot. Just like I felt, and I carried it with me when I first arrived to the States, and I think it was 1983 and 84. I was in Soho, and Soho was just beginning to become, and I painted some galleries there. I think one of the first galleries in Green Street and Spring Street, Green Street Gallery, something fantastic. I was a part of this, kind of putting it together. And I remember how I thought the entire world is pointing at me, saying, "Look, he's the loser. The loser has arrived." Like crucial things that I would like, sometimes I would stop in order to observe myself and say, "What's wrong with me? What's what's wrong? What's wrong with me?" It's like, what the heck? Uh, why am I feeling this way? And it's not like like I realize, okay, this is a point where one realizes maybe I need a therapist, maybe I need someone that will professionally join forces with me in order to kind of decipher whatever it is, like helping out. It's not that I realize that I need such a thing and I'm actually resisting it and not going that route. This wasn't even a factor. It was like, wait, why am I feeling this way? No, even better off. Why am I, to begin with, finding myself in this territory? Not close to anything that's familiar to me at all. It's like, how did I get there? Only God knows. So I mean, you find yourself in a territory, in a space where you couldn't even get there by mistake. It's just like an impossibility, by distance, by association, but you're there. How did I get there to begin with? And then you think about, how do you find yourself speaking like this, feeling like this, sensing like this, feeling like this? So I would go, and I was like actually pretty good looking, and young, 25 years old. And I was like, then I was feeling like everyone is looking at me. But I didn't know that actually they're looking at me because they're intrigued by me as a person. Just as simple as that. Because I felt like I'm not allowed to think about myself that which I should expect other people to feel about me, and therefore express it to me. And that's how I learn about myself. Twisted, isn't it? But the reality, a full reality. Who knew? I was like, I had to go through this struggle as if it's a real fact in my life that happens to be true, which is couldn't be more opposite and uh, yeah, than really what was on the surface. On the surface was someone that mistaken the world for thinking that the world is wants to rid itself from you, wants you not to be a part of it, and no explanation, no reason, no reasoning, no common sense, no clarity of thoughts, nothing, just these facts fermenting inside you. And then Mother Nature, after all, wants to approach you and say, "Hey, listen, let me join in with the effort here," and stays a bit with you and tells you, "Listen, such as so and so, such and such, this and that and this, here and there and here," and you find, and suddenly you're finding yourself extremely relaxed, not enlightened by new knowledge and discoveries, but just by feeling so down to earth, so actually blending, so actually outside the source that makes you tense up and worry and whatnot. And inevitably helping you find yourself closer to the truth anyway, without planning, without placing, without pre you know pre-establishing concept of what the route should be or the process should be. It's like amazing, amazing. So you make sure that you become acquainted with the scenario that you decided that has a mind of its own, that is an entity that's pumping and thriving and functioning, and you want to take it for what it is at face value, and you decided already that it just appeals to you, and you want to find yourself closer to that, a part of that, and you think the world of this probability. And so since then, I have a high level of self confidence that came from a real deep sense of feelings of inferiority, but not low self-esteem. Inferiority, like you're big and I'm small, you're meaningful and I'm meaningless, kind of thing. So now it's more like not snapping out of this state of mind and then achieving a new awareness, and therefore you're there, and therefore you change, and therefore you benefit. But it's more like you are reminiscing in the heart of the process of change that's taking place, reminiscing that which is and was and will be under discussion, in order to make you find the necessity to address that, in order to put it to rest, and in order to spare yourself, and in order to really uh, redirect the energies and and the strength and the whatever it is, to where it's supposed to go, supposed to have been there to begin with. And uh, and you're doing it without brains, without intellect, without smarts. You're doing it that you bring the instincts into the level of that thinking. But for the first layer and approach, it's just mathematics. It's just the logic of that plus what that can be only that. And then of course leave it to another opportunity to think that maybe it doesn't have to be this way. And I would philosophize with you over that any day of the week. But in order to allow myself to say that's an option, maybe it will never come to life, but at least we know it's an option, and it's comforting to know that it's there, even if it might be actually pathetic. But so what? So you enter your studio and you want to speak and you feel about the human condition, because that declaration of the human condition, that it feels like it must make its voice heard, is what informs us of the things that to begin with helped you find yourself um, residing within the possibilities, and knowing that that's the only fast way for you to find yourself ready to serve at any given time. Call for duty, high priority. Call for duty, that's say no more type of thing. And in the world of art, as this unfolds, I think it's very uh, rewarding to know that indeed there's something out there fermenting. And if you allow yourself to go into that zone, you'll never be bored. You'll never be complacent. You won't be able to just like chill in the way that we know how to chill, which is like an okay, but chill in a different way. Chill in the process of rejuvenation. Chill in the process of realizations of growth and progress and so much more. So let me just check something here, see where we stand. Okay. So I wanted to first to mention that we're here December 12th, year 2023, on Tuesday evening, and we're here with the Hello Hello Show. And my name is Haim Mizrahi. And by the way, the show, the art show that we have on display is by Josh Dayton, Steve Lotion, and myself, and it's ongoing through January 29th. And the opening will be January 6th from 4 to 6 here at LTV Studios. Of course, we'll give you more information as time goes by. But let me see if I can call Steve Rum. Oh yes, baby. So we'll see if we can help to. Okay. So here we'll do this and do this. Okay. It's actually nice to.
Hello?
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 Well, you're on the air, so be careful, huh?
Absolutely. How are you?
Wait. Oh, wait. Wait. The heck is happening here? Wait. Oh, yeah. Okay,
How long
we
is
got
your
it.
show today? 3 hours?
That's better because I just put the headphones.
Okay.
So, who am I speaking with?
I have no idea. Can't help you there. Pick who you'd like to speak to, and I'll be that person.
Oh boy. Well,
I just got a letter from Isaac Mizrahi. Is he any relative of yours?
Yes, he is. What did he say? Did he ask for me?
He said, "Don't deal with my cousin Haim. Under any circumstance, do not mistake me for Haim Mizrahi. Yeah. We have nothing in common,
it's
and
not
we're not
Mizrahi,
even blood related.
It's Mizrahi.
Mizrahi. Sorry.
Like he, she, it, we, they.
Right. Well, he, she, it, they said, "Don't deal with you." That was in the letter, and it's for fundraising for Bay Street. And the first thing it said is, "Dear Stephen, if you know Haim, do not speak with him." So I assume he knows you very well.
Yeah, yeah, uh,
Most people know not to talk to you.
yeah. He knows better not to mess with my affairs.
He said
And
something about you should give the easel back. I don't know what that is. It was in writing.
listen, right away. So I didn't know. I didn't know because we didn't define what fell as in the category of of affairs. So we're still trying to go back and forth there to establish that. We're not even there yet.
You mean the subject we're supposed to be talking about, which we have no idea what it is?
I don't know what's going on at any given time, Steve. Not
Neither
only
do
yet,
I, which makes it really interesting.
but you were listen. Aren't you were kind of most burdened to yourself out of consideration of what's burdenless in our lives? Don't you find yourself
Well,
that you like the only person in your life that you're in your face, that you're dominant, that you're just like kind of maybe narcissistic and
these are all
one
assumptions you're
sided.
making on your own.
And then when you realize it, when you accumulate years on planet Earth, you realize it. Then you feeling like an anxiety attack, not an anxiety, a suggestion of how your first anxiety attack in 20 years from now would look like and feel like. And that
Well,
really
I
terrifies you.
I did not go back to the accountant, by the way, because I'm afraid to go in.
Well, if you didn't get a phone call, that means it's
I
good.
haven't gotten a phone call, but I expect to see a painting outside my house. I just don't know which one it's going to be. It might be two of them. So I don't know if he's doing our taxes
But
this year.
is it anyone I know? Two
It's the
artists.
first where we hung up your painting, and I think because I haven't heard from him saying I really love it or I really hate it, I just haven't heard anything. So I'm basically on the list of incommunicado at this point.
So now
So
you're
I feel like
banned.
we're doing our own taxes.
You're banned and shamed.
Right?
So I suggest you open dance paper. You might have your picture this.
I drove by the other day, and now there's a for sale sign on his building.
I know those people who were in there that fight and never came back anyway. You follow?
And it says "as is," which means it comes with the artwork.
Oh my
So
God!
it's a really hard sell.
I'm just afraid that they're going to arrest us with something considering our own art that we are not aware of now.
I keep on the move
The evidence.
every day. Just pick a different place every day.
Yeah,
That's all.
that which was seen, the SEEN and SCENE. We
Both relate.
Yeah, both relate. You're right, because the one places the other and make you feel really ridiculous about your behavior on
Right.
regular basis.
The sentence that you're searching for is you don't want to be seen on a scene that is
Yeah.
known to other people.
Yeah, scene.
Because you want to remain incommunicado and just blend in with the environment so people driving by don't see you.
Listen,
So you're
scene.
not seen.
Yeah, scene around town. A scene. You know, scene around town. A scene. So now it's SIN. and but you know what?
And then if you extrapolate that, that's the same as the Seine River.
Yeah, and the thing is that if we, I think you're huge, you're a big sinner. I think we're better off as a society not to get to know about you too much.
The less you know, the better.
I just ate a piece of chocolate with the aluminum foil. A piece of it. Oh my God! If it's gonna kick
How was
in.
your show today? Did you have anybody on your show today? By the way, we attempted to watch the other night, and 10 minutes into the show, I said my usual comment. I have no idea what he's talking about. What else is on?
Wait, but which one was it? It was one of my monologues.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So it's.
I know which one you watched. It's actually very one of the strong ones. You know. because it
It's
really leaves no room to people. If you last 5 minutes, you're a hero.
well, we're in past 5 minutes. It's kind of like unraveling Einstein's theory of relativity, except it makes Einstein's theory rather simple in comparison. I do understand. I do understand Einstein's theory of relativity. Your line of thought just leaves me totally baffled.
Completely. So, so it's always legitimate to say, okay, let's go back to the beginning. Let's start all over again.
I think the thing for you to do in the future is record the first half and then play it over again for the second half, and just say if you didn't get it the first time, maybe you'll get it the second time.
Thank you for
And I
the
think that would
idea.
be very helpful to your audience.
Thank you for the idea. You know that I implement everything you say faster than you
I know you
think.
do.
You know?
plus, plus you can be out of there half an hour earlier.
Yeah.
And I mean, just think of all the things you've said since 1980ish on all the shows that you've been on by yourself. The volume. I mean, you do know that everything that goes out in the radio or in any format whatsoever keeps going. It goes into space.
Of
And it
course.
keeps traveling forever. So somewhere on some distant
Oh,
galaxy,
they're
they're
baffled.
now receiving Haim's monologues, trying to figure out what kind of civilization is down
Yes.
there.
I think a person like me will be the reason for them to come and decide to explore here. They,
No, I think it's going to keep everybody away. And I think we're pretty much safe as long as you keep doing your show.
yeah. Oh my God, that's a good point, my. Well, you got some
You know, I
talents,
mean,
you. Wonderful.
if there's really an intelligent species of which the humans don't qualify, if there's an intelligent species out there and they're listening to what's going on between all the wonderful TV shows, the game shows, et cetera, and your monologue, they're just going to say they're not even going to talk to each other because they don't talk anymore. They have psychic powers. They're just going to go, that's a planet. We certainly put an X over that one because we're not going there.
I thought the other way around. We have to go there right away. No, I think they're gonna.
Only if they wanted to wipe us out.
No, they want to summon me. I think eventually it's gonna end up to be that, and then they're gonna borrow me.
I hope they do.
They're gonna borrow me. And you know what? What's the first thing I do when we arrive to our destination? Is because where's Steve? I said I cannot perform without him, so they'll come for you too, faster than you think. But
when the UFO hovers over your house, just say, "Beam me up, Scotty," and that'll be the end of your talk show. And then somebody else is going to have to fill in, and they'll never be the same as you.
But you have a great talent. You're the only person / artist that I know that pretend that he's an artist and feels like an artist while he's creating exactly nothing.
Well,
sorry, I take it back. I take it back. I apologize already. Sorry.
That's going to cost you.
But one thing I want to say, when you do decide to create and to paint, then I'm floored. So you know what I mean. You're floored 1 out of 1,000 that I do. I'm floored by one of each one that you did.
Well,
so
that's the difference. Very soon.
You know. So
I do appreciate that.
Let me just really kind of because I'm curious. So for you, I mean, you could change your style and your technique just instantly because you have your capability of really painting in so many mediums, in so many aspects, that your skills, technical skills, are there standing for you. I mean, I'm limited. I can be extraordinary in one dimensional, and then you can be, you can kind of explore most dimensions just by implementing your technical ability that is wide and full variety. I mean, you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking
and then it's like I think that we as a community that happens to have like such creative trend would benefit from having you making a decision. You know what? I'm gonna just actualize things right and left now and see what's what. And
well, I think but we still always explore. And the fact is that there are no boundaries, and there's nothing set, and there's nothing defined. And that's what makes it exciting to go and do something new. I mean, yes, have I done lots of different styles or different ways of painting? Sure, but that's me. Other people, and you've evolved tremendously over the years. So I can talk to you in a way that I can't talk to a lot of people who are still doing the same thing 20, 30 years later, and they're still doing exactly the same thing. The art may have been interesting 30 years ago, but it gets kind of redundant when you keep painting the same thing over and over and over and over again, and you don't grow. And that's where I have problems with people. And it's unfortunate that's the case. I think that experimenting, failing is really important. Not everything is a success, and the fact that you're not afraid to do something different, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Move on.
Yeah, it is true. But again, how many people do you know that are going to make it their business to change and to change radically, not just change,
Not
kind of?
not enough.
No, not enough. Of course, not enough. And you know what? That's why the greats of the 40s and 50s and all this, they were great mainly because they were restless and they didn't want they couldn't afford to stop, and they were always searching and searching, and their search was hands-on, live paintings or
Right.
whatever other mediums that they had. They were restless. They were governed by the restlessness, and it dictated the journey that they will be going through. Nowadays, it's like you can be frozen for years as an individual
Right.
if you don't have the right guidance or any guidance at all. Because our society kind of also convince you that you can think that you don't need anyone, and that's a huge mistake. Even though it's kind of a very appealing thought, but we know better. You and I know better. We need guidance. We need involvement of other entities in
Right.
our lives. It's just it's a no brainer. And
I mean, there's always something that triggers your imagination, or there should be something that triggers your imagination to make you creative and think in different ways. If you're thinking the same way all the time, you're stagnating. That's how I look at it. Maybe somebody will disagree with me and say, they came up with a style that works for them, so why change something that's successful? And it's probably an argument to that, just not one that works for me. I think that you have to grow constantly, do different things, try different things, and I mean that's why when you did your last show, I figured I'm not going to put a painting in this time because I've done paintings. Let's put something in that's really different, and um, and I had fun with it. I enjoyed it. So what the next show has will be different again because eh, a, I can do it, and B, it's fun to do, and it also gets the creativity working.
what
And
are we trying to tell people out there when we expose ourselves and create paintings and then put it on exhibit and invite people and say, hey, I've done this. I want to share. I want to. What are we expecting exactly? That's kind of
you're
universal in that sense.
you're you're showing yourself. I mean, your paintings represent you and your thought patterns.
But
So
what are
what
the
you're when
aspirations? What is it that we're trying or hoping to get out of it?
Oh, I think that basically all of us want to be liked. We want our work to be liked. Theoretically, we'd like it to be sold, but that's not happening these days.
Uh huh.
But I think everybody that creates something wants it to be liked, wants it to be admired, and it's a basic instinct that if you're creating something and then you're putting it on display, you're putting it out there for people to see. You don't want people to walk by and say, "Oh my God, that's awful." You want to hear, "Wow, that's great. That's different. That's creative," and that's putting yourself out there, and you're taking the chance, especially when you're doing things that are really different or new. You're taking the chance that you could be rejected. People could find it not pleasant. There are a whole host of emotions that can be applied to it, but you're basically putting yourself out there and you're saying, "This is what I do, not what somebody else did. It's what I do. It's what I create. Do you like it?" And you'd like to hear that people like it. You don't want negative comments all the time. Um, you don't mind if you get comments, and if somebody says, "Wow, that's really different. I'm not sure if I like it or not." That's okay. That's fine,
Yeah,
especially if you do something that really shakes people up,
yeah.
and
But
that's also okay.
what was helpful for the greats from the 40s and 50s that they couldn't, they didn't have the internet in order to
Right.
persuade them that the world is in need of them, or to such an extent. And they were limited, even with all the desire to show and to create and to expose. The channels were extremely limited, and but they
I,
still, so that proves that they still had this burning desire, regardless
right.
of it, because even
I
if
mean,
they,
when trends start, like pop art, uh, a lot of people rejected pop art. A lot of people thought that Warhol's Campbell's soup can was ridiculous. They thought it was a joke. Well, it turned out not to be a joke. It turned out
yeah.
that it started a whole new style of art,
Yeah,
and
but if Jackson Pollock had his art show at Guildhall in 1940, whatever, late 40s, nobody knew about it other than people in East Hampton at that moment, and even there it was questionable. Maybe
but it
some,
grew.
yeah. But the thing is that they couldn't have had more of pairs of eyes, uh, more than whoever attended there. That's it. It's going nowhere. Knowledge is right there and then. So
But
we
he
cannot imitate
persevered.
that, even if we wanted, even if we were to cut ourselves completely out of the social media and just do our own thing, supposedly as if nothing else exists. It will become public knowledge faster than you think. No matter, you cannot hide. Not
Well,
only
I
that
think
it's
what's
available,
happening
you
now,
cannot protect yourself from it, even if you chose to.
right?
But they, on the other
What I
hand,
see happening, Heim, is that there's a whole new art movement of which we're not part of, and um, and it would be almost impossible for us to be part of it because it's being done by much younger people who are into electronics and computers and other things, where they're not painting in the traditional sense. They're working with light, they're working with lasers, they're working with LED, et cetera, et cetera. They're creating with computers. Some of the work is absolutely spectacular. Some of it's beautiful to look at. It's not the traditional frame with a canvas in it. It's really different. Is it an art movement? Absolutely. I've seen some of it that is beautiful, and I love it.
what
So
movement? What's the name?
it's
It has a
it's
name,
it's
or
away from, I don't know what you would call it, but it's maybe the digital movement. I'm not sure, but artwork is being created through without brushes, without paint. It's being done digitally. It's being done in different ways. Um, it's uh, I've seen things that are 30 feet by 30 feet that are just with images on it, um, that flow and blend and do all kinds of things, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Things that are done with lasers. They've gotten away from a canvas. They've gotten away from just sculpture, and they're creating things that have a beauty to it that is created from a totally different source. And I think it's great. I think that new technology, new ways of creating beauty is fine, and some of it is absolutely beautiful.
yeah.
So I don't know if it's been formally named yet as to what kind of light. Yeah, I mean, we're not in the city, so we're not that much aware of what movements are and going to galleries and things in
Yeah,
the
but
city.
listen. The bottom line is that movements or no movements, if you don't have any movement that leads you directly to your studio, then who are you? What are you? And nobody. You have to have that space. That immediate space can be large, small. It can be convenient, not comfortable or not. Doesn't matter. It's just space. Still, after all these years, I think more what I did 4 hours ago when I went home and then I went to the studio and I just had 10 minutes and I did something spectacular. Now I'm thinking all day long, thinking about that, what I left behind, what's going to happen, how am I going to go, I'm not going to go. It doesn't matter the clarity, it's the thought. So I'm thinking, so I'm pumping, I'm activating, I'm feeling, I'm boiling, I'm running, So this is something that you could not purchase even if you had all the fortune in the world. You cannot just own it because you paid for it and you got it. It's just got like a whole different process of the trueness of engagement and virtues that are given, but deep, wonderful virtues that are just a given. It's just like right there. And,
So I think you're describing your process that you go through
yeah,
of how
but
you
this
create a
there's
painting.
much more than one ingredient that's universal in putting in allowing a situation like this to take place. This does not belong to me. Most of what I'm feeling or what I can share with you, most of it is a combination of another 2 million artists that are pretty much approaching it in the same way, getting different results, but approaching it, that similarity brings us under the same roof. And we want to be declaring that hey, I don't know if you want to make it your business or not. That's not up to me. But I'm still going to do what I need to do, and whether you know it or not, it doesn't help me knowing that you know it or knowing that you don't know it. It doesn't
Well,
concern me even. What concerns me is that it should meet the eyes that are willing to lay themselves on this on that which is under discussion, your painting, or or have
well,
your ear in
you're
the right
you in
thing.
essence, however you word it, you're seeking the same thing, which is creating something that you want seen by other people. And in many ways, you want something that's not only seen, but you want somebody's in a subtle, subconscious, very elemental way. You want somebody's approval that what you're doing, especially when you do new things, that you're on the right course, that you're doing something that is um, not only acceptable to other people, but that other people find it pleasing, that they like it, that they like the development, they like the change, and that drives you forward to keep doing it. Um, if people kept coming up to your paintings and coming up to you and saying, "I've seen that. What else is new? I've seen that. What else is new?" It gets stale. So you are constantly changing. I'm constantly changing. For me, it's a different reason. I really don't care anymore what people have to say about it. It's me. It's within me and probably within you to create things and keep moving ahead.
So what are we giving to those that are not artists and more won't end up at their home with that influence to start painting? They're not, it's not who they are, but they enjoy it. And so what are we giving them exactly?
You're giving them a brief time, unless they buy it, unless they own it. You're giving them a brief time of looking through a different perspective, a different window at something that gives them pleasure and something that they might or might not remember. But you're giving them something that they didn't have until they walked into wherever the work is hanging and saw it. It changes them. It changes their point of view of what they may determine is pretty or beautiful or powerful or confrontational,
So how is
whatever
it?
determines.
Yeah. So how is it important again? So I want to know what
It's
was,
important
if
for
it's
you.
implementable. How would that be? What does it mean?
It's important for you to present something in front of your viewers
How can they
that is
implement it into something that will add to value to their lives? That's my point.
it does automatically. It's like if you're just driving in your car and you see a beautiful sunset, or if you go down to the ocean and it's a calm, beautiful day, and you just sit and meditate for a while, you're absorbing that beauty, that nature. It fills your soul, whatever soul means. And a painting or a sculpture or any work of art that stirs you, that moves you, does the same thing. So you're presenting something, you're dedicated to the process of creating something
So
that is going to change somebody's life.
I want to decipher the concept of filling. It fills your soul. Fills. Yeah. What does it fill it with? What is it? I want to know that because
This,
the
if
more
you think of
meticulous I will become in understanding that, the better I will be as an end
if you
result as a
think of each
painter.
person, think of each person that comes across your work, my work, whoever work it is. Um, there's a partially empty bucket within them that needs to be filled with a certain amount of challenge, beauty, culture, confrontation, a whole host of emotions. If you fail to do that, if your work doesn't do that and it just doesn't register at all, you haven't accomplished anything. If you do have something that's hanging on the wall or sitting on a pedestal or whatever it is, and it does affect the person in some way, it puts a little something into that bucket of emotions that they have that changes them.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in a very tiny way, but it changes them. They don't walk out the same way they walked in. And that's what you're working for. That's what I'm working for. That's what we're all working for, is that people who see whatever it is you produce are affected by it. Otherwise, why do it?
Yeah. Otherwise, why do it? You're right. Um,
So, you're doing it for yourself, number one. That's the most important person. And then number two, you're doing it for people who are going to see it. Otherwise, you don't take it out of the house. Just keep it at home. And, it serves no point if you're going to do that other than to be self satisfying that you can do certain things, but you have no desire to show it. I think the fact that you do show it, and I show it, and other people show it, we all want, um, going back to the earliest stages of our lives, nothing like a pat on the head saying, well done. That was good. It's taking that very simple emotion and bringing it up to a much higher level, but that's still the same basic emotion that you want. And you're putting something on the wall and people are looking at it, you want people to say, I really like that, or it's really interesting, whatever the comment is. That's why you're exhibiting. That's why you
yeah.
show.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So,
Definitely.
we all need that praise at some point in our lives if you're really dedicated at what you do. And, we've been to art shows. You and I have walked around and we've looked at stuff that I just find either offensive and in some way that's a positive reaction because it got to me. And then there are other things that I see that are really well done, are beautiful, and that gets to me. And I remember the images. To this day, I remember images I saw decades ago. So whomever the artist is, and whatever they're creating, we're all doing the same thing. Whether it's Michelangelo, Da Vinci, Pollock, Warhol, whoever it is, puts their stuff out there because they need some sort of approval.
Yeah.
And otherwise, they'd keep it home and they'd never show it. You never would know that there's a Pollock. Someday somebody would discover it and say, "Look what I found."
Yeah.
But that's not the way it works.
I agree with
So
you. I agree with you. Yes.
so the best thing that you can do, which is what you do, is you go back to your studio and you keep producing and changing. When you
Yeah.
stop changing,
Yeah.
put
You
your
talk.
paints
You know, you're
away
talking to
and
the
say,
right
"I'm not a
person. Yeah.
painter anymore."
You know, you're talking to the right person. Correct. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm sometimes I feel like I change so much. It's disgusting.
it's never disgusting. I mean, you can
I
you
know.
could change drastically, and it's totally acceptable because there is no rules that say you have to make a gradual change. You can make drastic changes,
Yes. Definitely.
and it's perfectly acceptable.
Yes. Definitely. Definitely. Yeah.
So,
Uh. So yeah, I'm just kind of sending. So yeah, I thank you very much, my friend. Who are you?
uh, Ralph Nader,
Oh my God! Oh, thank you very much, my friend. What's your name?
good guy. Why do I do the show? I have no idea why I do the
uh,
show.
wait. Oh, Steve Rom. Steve Rom is here with us, December 12th, year 2023, on a Tuesday afternoon, early evening, and here with the Hello Show. As usual, thank you for your effort. Thank you for your selfless acts. Even though I can do without many things that I can mention here that I want. because I'm very generous. I'm very
For you,
generous
it's
and
always
kind.
like walking into quicksand.
I'm generous
You never
and
know
kind.
quite what to expect.
I'm generous and kind at the same time. I learned a lot from you also, so you should be definitely give yourself credit. So
I enjoy it.
yes,
You
very
know that.
nice. Happy Hanukkah. Merry
Same to you.
Christmas, all these wonderful things. I'm blessing you like as if I'm not going to see you, like or talk to you in an
There was
hour.
hopes on the other end.
In an hour, you know. I actually need suggestions from the crowd out there how to get rid, how to get rid of you. So we'll see what creative
Sayonara
solutions.
and goodbye.
Thank you, and thank you for your friendship.
And thank you for yours.
Okay, take care, wife.
Mutual thanks.
You got it.
Absolutely.
We'll see you sooner than later.
Take care.
Bye
Have a
bye.
great evening.
So, just not to fail to mention, of course, the fact that we have the group art show here by Josh Dayton, Steve Lotion, and myself through the end of January, and we're going to have an opening reception Saturday, January 6th, between 4 and 6, and that's at LTV Studios in Wainscott. So we're going to be here tomorrow as much as we were here yesterday, and as much as we're here this late afternoon, early evening of Tuesday, December 12th, year 2023. And my name is Haim Mizrahi. Concluding, thank you for your time and goodwill and good nature. And we're wishing you the best holidays. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and so much more coming your way here from LTV. We'll see you sooner than later.